guys. So today I'm so excited to welcome Lina Kennedy, the owner of Alexandria Professional, and she's back on the podcast. Lina has been on Esthetician Edit before, so if you haven't listened or watched those episodes yet, I'm going to put them in the show notes. But she brings so much depth, so much honesty and education to the conversation. And today we're going to be talking about something that I think is very important to talk about as estheticians. We're going to be diving into hormonal facial hair, menopause, and how estheticians can better support women through these changes. So I guess if you don't mind first, just menopause is often talked about in whispers or not at all. Why do you think society has historically minimized or even dismissed women's experiences during, these stages of life, and especially when it comes to visible changes like facial hair?
Oh, you can Google all this, but this goes back centuries. Even if you look at something as recent as the Victorian days, because that's really not that far back, right? They looked at women going through menopause because of these psychological changes, emotions, and so on, as crazy, and actually put them in asylums. So imagine from there to where we are today. And when I say today, I feel like in the last couple of years, there's more, just like the mental health issues, there's more openness, because with openness, we can learn to understand what these symptoms are and work better through them without the shame. And I feel like everything to do with women, from menstruation, it used to be hush hush. You had to hide if you had your period. And even today, it's like you don't want to say the words, It's like in secrecy, you got to take that tampon and hide it and go to the back. Like all these ridiculous things for the biggest population of women who have this for the majority of their lives. And then when perimenopause sets in, then you're going through a new transition where your emotions are changing, your hormones are changing. Facial hair growth is a huge part of that, unfortunately. Your skin changes, the collagen in your skin depletes. All of these things are normal parts of being a woman, normal functions. And that's why I'm so grateful that we're at a point where it's okay to have a full discussion. I'm going to give you a little story, and that's only maybe like 3 years ago. I was at a big convention in Russia, and I had this translator interpreter who worked with me for 7 years, 3 times a year when I went there. So she knew all my stories and the innuendos of it. And it was really a good relationship. Then it was a big crowd, and it was a woman who came on my demo bed with a lot of facial hair. So I started telling stories about menopause. She leaned over and said, "No, Lina, we don't talk about such things here." I'm like, "What?" I said, "You're going to translate every word I say, and I'm going to look at you in the audience to make sure I see the reaction." So we did. And I have to tell you, I was so proud of the women because they're all like nodding their head like, yeah, it's time we start to just open up. And so that was an interesting moment in my time, because it showed me that you yourself, myself, or anyone, you just have to open the conversation. And that's where we can step in now as esties, as treatment providers, to help our customers get through certain things, because they might come to us more emotional. For sure, if they're experiencing hormonal facial hair growth, they're already not feeling wonderful. And that's just human nature. We like to look healthy and attractive and smooth and all that stuff, right? But
Yeah.
that's one big thing for me, is helping women with facial hair growth. I did a lot of it
Yeah.
when I was in LA.
It's refreshing to talk about because it's something that I see a lot in my practice, even with women that have like PCOS or other hormonal issues. Like hormones
Exactly.
come into play so much in the treatment room with like skin and hair. Um, I guess I would want to know, like, specifically, what role does menopause specifically play in facial hair growth? And at what stage do women usually start to notice these changes?
So I think now I'm going to speak about myself because I was forced into menopause. So I didn't go through the perimenopausal where your body starts to go through the changes and elevates until you get full shutdown. It was a forced issue, 36 years old. Three things happened within the first few months. One, I lost a tremendous amount of hair. We're talking very serious hair loss. Two, I lost the thickness, the plumpness, which I would call the youthness of my skin. Three, I had a lot of vellus hair, right? Because I'm very blonde, sensitive skin. And it never really troubled me because it was so fine. It was more like a little duvet. But around here, they were getting thicker and darker. And thank God for sugaring because it's all under control. But at the time, I don't know what I would have done. And so these are three things that happen. And when we're talking about hair removal, you have to give attention to the changes in the skin, not just the hair growth, because the skin becomes more delicate. It can tear easier. It loses its elasticity, its collagen, its plumpness. And, there are things we can do in the beauty industry to help that, to help mitigate it, if you will. But it's quite evident when someone is going through, whether it's through a course perimenopausal or your full-blown menopausal. I think for us to help these women is first to understand it. So you're young, you're beautiful, you're healthy. I'm talking about you, Sam. But it doesn't mean that you don't, you shouldn't research, study it, understand it more to help your clients, right? Which I can tell from our conversation, what you said earlier, that you do care. I think as STs, it should be our primary concern is to care about what's happening with her client, because the psychological effects of these changes are real. So they don't want to hear, oh my God, look at, they want, oh, this is something, are you going through, maybe they do have PCOS, maybe they're younger, maybe they got forced into it like I did, or maybe they're going through the perimenopausal stages. And or you're getting a client who's already in her 50s and 60s who's, had full stop, but menopause will continue on with these issues. It's not like it goes away on its own. So understanding the emotions of your customer, understanding how that hair growth is there and how to help control it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing on the face of the earth that is going to stop 100% those hairs from coming back. You can get it under control. And that's what I love doing for women of any of these hormonal imbalance growth experience, is that they don't have to worry about shaving anymore. They definitely will not tweeze. That would be the first rule I would give, because the women who tweeze or pluck tend to get broken hairs and ingrowns. Like, how many women have you seen with acneic looking skin from the hairs being trapped as well? Inflammation, hyperpigmentation. So you want to prevent all those. And that's the program I put together, the minute package program for this hair condition.
Okay. Yeah, I actually just made a reel the other day. It's all about how hormones affect your beauty and how it's hard to even feel beautiful when you have so many hormonal issues going on, because it's not just the hair, it's the puffiness, it's like feeling like fatigued and lethargic, things like that. So I love how you talked about the emotions that come into play, because I think people just want to be seen and they want to know that it's normal, whatever it is that they're experiencing. As far as the sugaring goes, so you talked about the hormonal hair being very coarse, stubborn. So why is sugaring specifically better suited for those managing menopausal facial hair rather than other hair removal methods?
I'm going to tell you. The most noble thing I ever did. There was one young girl when I was in LA. She was a singer, and she shaved every morning and sometimes at night before her gigs. And she had PCOS, and it's a big story. But the thing is, I got her hair growth under control. These are the things that make what we do for our customers worth everything. It's not even the money, it's the joy in their eyes, the smile on her face. I'll never forget the first time she came to me and I talked her through it. I did a good consultation and I explained to her everything that she should be expecting from these treatments. So the first, because she had full shaven hair, this area, and then a lot of growth in other areas and heavy brows. So the first treatment, I did her entire face. So the full face, cleaned up her brows, nostril hairs, comedones, because you can do that with a sugar. And I went to work on this area. And I have to say, there were some hairs left because they were just too. The one thing you don't want to do is overwork. This area here will be the first area to get overworked. And because it sits on a bone, it tends to, overworking will make it to a point where it has to heal itself. You don't want that because it's counterproductive to what you're trying to do. So I got everything off and I said to her, you can feel, so I took her finger, you can feel there's still some little stubbles, but I'm going to catch those in another 2 days. And that's what you get to do. But when she looked in the mirror, she started crying, as God is my witness, because it's the first time she felt, like you were saying, beautiful. Her skin was glowing. It was really hair-free, if you will, cleaned up. It really, and I did our Hungarian wellness mud after, which brightened even more. And then I said to her, now you've got to come. So I put her on a minute packages, right? Which means you sell however many minutes you want. I used to sell like a 180-minute package, and they would prepay it so that they can come in, even if they only had 2 hairs that were, coming through the skin, and it might take you 2 minutes to take them out, a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And then you just take those off the minute package. So I always tell them, you can just walk in if you don't, if you're feeling it, you're at a stoplight, you're touching yourself. Don't go home and shave or tweeze. Come on in. So then what was happening, I was extracting her hair almost every other day, whatever new hair was coming in, which means I was extracting her hair continuously in the early anagen stage. So first thing that happened is we got rid of all her pronging. So the hair gets refined, right? So the hair wasn't pronging. It was, going back down on the skin as opposed to sticking out. So, and then as it's getting finer, it's lighter in color. So she was at a point where she was waking up in the morning not feeling burdened. And that was a big part for her to gaining her boyfriend came to thank me. He said, I have not seen my girlfriend so happy. So that's what we're talking about, the emotions of not feeling feminine, not feeling attractive, feeling like all eyes are on us looking at our hair. These are real emotions that people feel. We all feel it, right?
I love that you offer. I actually haven't heard anyone. I mean, I'm not a wax artist, so I don't know if this is like popular amongst wax artists to do the whole minute method. What did you call it
No,
again?
I kind of created that because we can. I understand the Kennedy theory to sugaring because I created it. So I know how to work with the hair, getting it only in the anagen stage. And it can't be a cookie cutter because everybody's hair growth pattern is going to be different. So you have to be willing to consult your clients and to encourage them to work with you so that you can optimize their results. It really becomes a partnership. There's no other way to do the minute packages without that partnership. Because the one goal I had in mind is to unburden her and to get her growth under control. Yeah.
So, okay, so let's say, for example, I have PCOS, so sometimes I have a few little hairs that come out. I don't have the issue, like it's not that bad. But let's say you have a client, you're working on her hair growth, she has like those 2, 3 hairs. What would be the harm in her going home and tweezing it rather
So
than coming to you?
the problem with that is many times it doesn't really detach from the dermapapilla if indeed it is in the anagen stage. You don't know. It could have been already released, right? And a new hair is forming. So when they do that, they tend to break the hair. And when a hair is broken inside the follicle, by the time it grows back, the skin cells can have keratinized again and it may not come through, which you get this more like cystic acne, and it gets very inflamed. And
Yeah.
That's the danger to that. And we don't want hyperpigmentation because that becomes another thing we have to work through.
Hmm. Yeah, also too, something that I cannot do is dermaplaning. So I don't know if you can speak maybe to why sugaring is better than dermaplaning. I know like for me, it causes, I get little bumps everywhere, it gives me acne. So I don't know if you can speak to that as well.
Yeah, I know dermaplaning became very, very great, very popular, and a lot of people swear by it. But by nature, all you're really doing is, I mean, there are so many good forms of exfoliation, but
Hmm.
all you're really doing is glorifying a shaving mechanism for the hair. So all that vellus hair, that duvet that you shave, and of course, or dermaplane, shaving should be in the natural direction, not against, right? um, all you're doing is you're slicing it. So you might be feel smooth for that day. You break out. I know quite a few people who break out from dermaplaning as well, but there are some who don't. But all you're doing is you're blunting the hair. So as it grows even a little bit, and even if it's fine vellus hair, you still feel that little coarseness. It's just blunted. You're not going to make your vellus hair become thicker like a shaving man's beard. That's
Uh-huh.
impossible. The only things that will affect your hair texture are your own internal hormones that will transform them into something else, like when we go through menopause, right?
Hmm.
Otherwise, if you wanted to continue dermaplaning your face every day for the rest of your life just to have smooth skin, like not feel hair, you can, as long as you don't have, the issues of sensitive skin, getting rashes, um, even potentially getting infections. As long as you don't have those issues, you can. But know
Hmm.
that you're just shaving or blunting, in another word, dermaplaning the hair off. You're not doing anything to the mechanism of its growth internally.
Okay. And so, what are the most common mistakes that you feel practitioners make when treating hormonal facial hair on the face?
Uh, I try to do these answers diplomatically because it's important to me that it's not misreceived.
Yeah.
So, most important to me is skin health. And I wouldn't want to do anything or put anything on the skin that can harm it or lift more skin cells than should be, right? When we do the sugaring, you get a light exfoliation. If you
Hmm.
overwork these areas, you can see a little bit of, more of you've gone too far down in exfoliation. That means you were struggling to get a hair out, or you were putting that pressure that I so often try to critique on my TikTok is not to do that pressure onto the skin, especially with menopausal skin that's thinner, like the bikini area. You could split that
Hmm.
skin even with the sugar just from how you're sugaring. So when it comes to the facial hair, if it's really coarse, the first thing you have to think is don't overwork it. In the sugaring, you could leave some sugar on there and go ahead and work some other areas and come back and take it off. But the key is how you come off the skin has to be no pressure at all on the skin so that you only feel not a to the skin
Mm.
because you're not going to remove those tough hairs that way. And it's the same when we teach our THE, tough hair extraction technique. It's a technique that is it really, really is unique, and you have to take time to master it. But we have a practice um, advice thing that we give so that you can practice it every day for 5 minutes. And what happens with that for those tough, wiry hairs, even if it's short, you mold over that hair and you let that sugar seep into the follicle. So now the sugar inside the follicle is sticking to the sugar on top of
Hmm.
the skin. And when you do your removal one time, that hair might pop and go back in. So the tough hair extraction technique, it's really hard to show, but you got to go back over it really fast. And you can see every time because it has to so fast. And then you
Yeah.
can see it inch, and then it just comes out because it keeps gripping it in that microsecond grip
Hmm.
until it actually slides all out. And
Mm-hmm.
so with that technique, with a good formulation that doesn't stick to the skin, with a technique that doesn't lift the skin, you can really, really help your customers cope well with the growth they have and get them to a place where it's so easily managed. I can grow a hair, go, oh, where did this come out? And I go like
Mm-hmm.
this, and it slides out.
Oh,
There's
wow.
no because I don't have the wiry hair anymore. There's no resistance. I try not to do that, but sometimes I'll be and I'll take it and slide it on my skin, and the hair comes out. So these are the lovely things that they can look forward to. The issue with this is that you need to master your crafts in
Mm-hmm.
sugaring. This
Yeah.
is the most difficult part for us, is to convince people that to master something is worth everything in your career, because your customers will reap the benefits of your
Mhm.
true expertise.
I think also too, setting client expectations, because like you said, you had that one lady that came in and then you told her she would need to come back, more so because you're taking a progressive approach rather than getting all the hairs out and then it's going to affect her skin later. So what would you say to just estheticians on setting the right client expectations?
Well, first it goes right back to understand what you're capable of offering. Like, understand, no matter which system you're working with, understand everything about what you offer so that you can logically analyze through a consultation your customer's needs and be able to refer back to them what they can expect. So don't overpromise. I think that's something um, no one should ever do. Under
Mhm.
promise, over deliver, that expression. But in this particular case, build a partnership. You have to have a partnership in this. Yeah.
Okay, and then skin conditioning, that's like the cornerstone of your philosophy. I know we talked a lot about it actually in our recent podcast, but what role does the full circle of skin conditioning play in supporting menopausal clients before,
Oh.
during, and after facial hair removal?
It's like night and day. It's I live by the full circle. So the whole premise of it is to help prevent ingrowns. That was the beginning of it. Get rid of ingrowns, help prevent them. But today, now that we understand even more why we've gotten the results, the simplest thing to think of is, how can I extract my customer's hair when it's deeply rooted, attached to derma papilla in that early, lovely anagen stage? How can I help take those hairs out? So what do I need to do? What does the customer need to do in partnership with me to
Mm,
facilitate that? And this is how it works. So you do your sugaring, and then it's prime time. They can even do it before. Like, if you have a consultation before their first appointment, they can spend a few days working the full circle at home to make it easier for the extraction. And how it works is you keep the dead skin cells at bay so that the mud, the mud puddle, which is Hungarian wellness mud, I know we've talked about that a lot in the past, can penetrate deeper, decongest the follicles, detoxify. Decongestion is more the word I like to use. We want to clean that follicle out for one reason
mhm,
only: to eliminate the resistance of taking that hair out, right? So, and then with the Phenomenal, which is a skin cell softener and repair, you actually help to start repairing skin damage, including hyperpigmentation. So the three of them together prepare the skin. When they come back and you start to sugar, the sugar seeps into the follicles easier and is extracted easier with greater ease. And this will be evident from treatment to treatment. Within 1 month, it's a different game for you as a practitioner doing the job itself, and for the customer receiving, because it's easy and it's quick and the
mhm.
results speak for themselves.
Yeah, it sounds similar to even if you have a client who has acne, you don't want to extract everything their first session. You want to give them home care, soften the skin, and then when they come in, it makes it easier to extract.
That's the whole premise. Anyone
Mhm.
who's on a full circle for anywhere on the body, but right now we're talking about menopausal hair growth, and that's
Mhm.
really can be very, very tough hair to extract, right?
Mhm.
So, but that full circle anywhere on the body is the biggest game changer in providing such a very optimized treatment and an ease. To me, it's the ease of treatment when the hair just comes out and it's over, it feels wonderful. And the
Mhm.
skin, anyone on a full circle, the skin is so much prettier, softer,
Mhm.
brighter, smoother. It's amazing.
I can tell it's super satisfying for you.
It is because I know it works. Like,
Mhm.
ah, give me 20 more years younger, and I would just, maybe I would try differently to get the messages out
Uh-huh. No, you're
because
doing
I
a
just
great
know.
job.
Thank you. Everybody
Okay.
can benefit. I want to say
Mhm.
one thing, because I will be disrupting the industry one more time in my career. First was the
Okay.
introduction of professional sugaring and the Kennedy theory. Now I'm going to introduce the bookend theory for partnering laser and sugaring.
Ooh.
Hear me out. Because I called it the bookend because we could do, and I have all the proof, we could do sugaring just before laser or sugaring just after laser. So I see it as sugaring supports laser on both sides. I
Mhm.
prefer the before, and I'll tell you why. And this is also very good. And I have so much to tell you, Sam. I'm meeting with huge, huge laser companies because if you do sugaring, and that means you could do it on white, wiry hair, on
Mhm.
white skin, on dark, you could, they can do laser on tattoos, which is kind of hard to do. I've talked to many, well, not many, 4 major laser companies. So let's say you do sugaring just before, but in the
Mhm.
technique I'm telling you, where you do no skin damage and you get the hair out in the anagen. And then you follow up with the laser. The laser is going to find its DP target irrelevant of anything surrounding, because the blood release will have happened from detaching the hair from the dermapapilla, from the blood vessels. And now it's got something to target. The results have been amazing with my partners in Finland. And I will be pushing this
Oh, I
without
love it.
fear in 2026.
Ah,
Yeah.
how exciting.
So
I'm
it's another
actually,
little thing for menopause as well.
yeah, I'm actually starting laser next year, so that's good to know. So I'll do my sugaring appointments before my laser.
Ah, when are you starting?
I'm going to start in January. I think it's the first week of January I'm starting laser because I have really, really thick hair.
Well, when you get started and you're feeling comfortable, let's get
Hmm.
together and do a
Okay.
treatment of the partnership between sugaring and
Okay.
laser.
Yes, I
Love
would
to
love
do that
that.
with you.
That would be amazing. I
Yeah,
can be the little guinea pig.
absolutely.
Okay, so then we talked a little bit about this, about how women feel embarrassed or ashamed to talk about facial hair. So, how can practitioners create a safe, respectful, empowering treatment room that just makes these clients feel, safe?
Probably the easiest thing I can say is treat them with respect and indifferent, just hi,
Hmm.
come on in, let's take care. Like, without anything else, like just treat them as the beautiful individual that they are.
Hmm.
And I think they'll feel, but do it with honesty, because they will feel that energy from you. And that alone will create a safe feeling for them to be there,
Hmm.
non-judgmental.
Yeah. If there's one mindset shift that you want estheticians to embrace when working with menopausal clients, what would it be, and why does this stage of life deserve more expertise, not less?
Oh, yes. So dealing with the emotions of having to go through menopause, if you're an esthetician who um, really has a passion for what you do, and you really care about your clients and the outcome of the treatments that you offer, learn more about the situation. Learn more so that when you see them, you can, you can express, I see this, or yes, I've seen this, and this is what we're going to do. You're going to love the results, and communicate with them in a way that they feel you're really engaged with their needs, not just
Mm-hmm.
with their needs and with their person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think for me, the most important is understand all that you can understand if you're going to offer menopausal treatments, facial hair removal treatments. Learn as much as you can. It doesn't mean you have to go back to school. Just get yourself a couple of books. There's so many good authors on the subject matter. And then learn more specifically about the hair growth so that when you speak to them and they look in your eyes, they can
Mm-hmm.
feel your truth, your honesty, and your intelligence towards the situation.
Yeah, I think that's the power of niching because, anyone can do sugaring, but if you even just like online talk about, the struggles of having hormonal facial hair and just everything that comes with menopause as well, I think someone who's struggling with it is more likely going to choose you over someone who's maybe not talking about it.
That's
Um,
right. That's a very
yeah.
good point. Put yourself out there.
Hmm.
Absolutely. On your socials, even what we're doing right now, if you have local, because you want to talk to your local community. You want them coming
Hmm.
to you as an expert they can trust. And you need to walk the walk and talk the talk. Don't
Yes.
fake it, learn it.
And for women listening who maybe are even struggling with this right now, what would you say to them to help them feel like less alone or less self-conscious?
You are not alone. We are in plenitude seeking our treatments. So know whatever you're going through, you're not alone. Look online for support groups so that you can understand support groups that are positive. It's one thing to share your story. It's another to start feeling empowered. You don't want something that drags you down because you're worth a lot more than that. So know that you're not alone and know that there is a solution for everything. And the
Hmm.
first solution starts with your thought. Your thought can make or break you. This we can we can control, fix it, make it better.
Yeah.
But this only you can control.
Yes, that's so true. I thought you were going to say sugaring, but I was
Well,
like,
you know how much I love
sugaring.
sugaring, but still, though, when it comes to
Yeah.
all that's involved, it's your thought because
Hmm.
you are your best friend or your worst enemy. It's
Hmm.
up to you every day, every thought.
I couldn't agree more.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much. If anyone is listening and they want to get started with Alexandria Pro, and maybe learn more about like your techniques and how to treat menopausal skin, how can they get connected?
They could just email us at info@alexandriapro.com and we'll get back to them. Or they can visit our website. We have a lot of information on the educational programs that we have. And
Okay.
get started. Get
Yes.
started is all I have to say. And be open, open to learning, open to mastering. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I think 2026 is the time to do so. January is like a fresh new year. So education is everything. When are you guys like what are you guys going to be posting as far as the laser and the sugaring? Because I'm super intrigued. Where can I find more information about that?
So we have something coming out in January, and I'm
Hmm.
waiting for that. And then we're going to put more information on our website. I'm going to do more socials on it, and I've got 4 symposium booked in Europe, 4 countries right now, and 2 massive ones in Mexico and Latin America, all
Wow,
about laser and sugaring.
that's
Yeah,
incredible. We'll make
I
sure to
know
send that.
so
Yeah,
exciting.
send that information to me as it comes out, and I'll
I
make sure to
will.
share it with the community.
I will, with pleasure, Sam.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Merry Christmas to you and everyone at L&E and your family. Such a pleasure
Thank
to see
you.
you
You
again.
too, as well. Send that information to me as it comes out, and I'll
I
make sure to
will.
share it with the community.
I will, with pleasure, Sam.
Thank
Thank you.
you.